Petra fell through the sky like a stone. Her name meant stone, so this seemed appropriate. It took a moment for the seat under her to detach and fall away, and for the parachute to open and catch her fall. Slowly now, she fell, away from the burning wreckage above, its falling embers threatening to ignite her only safety net. All it took was one, and she would fall. But she was lucky. Petra watched as both hers and the enemy's jet disappeared into the clouds below. She wondered if the other pilot made it. She couldn't see them, but it didn't matter. She just needed to work on her landing. Make sure she didn't impale herself on a tree branch. Just minutes earlier, the bandits had been picked up on radar, 3 of them entering U.S. territory. They were getting bold nowadays. Petra had been in the air already, so she was able to get to them quicker than the others, despite orders to wait for backup. She saw the enemy skimming across the silver clouds and used that cloud cover to rise up from behind them. The first fell with a spray of bullets, simply descended, and didn't rise again. The other 2 were quick. With a tilt, they peeled apart, vanishing from her sights, dodging the fire stream. Petra's eyes darted back and forth from the monitor to the window, frantically searching for the next target. When they whipped by, they peppered Petra's aircraft before circling back around. Petra dove through the clouds, then surged up like a breath breaking the surface, loosening her fire stream into the next target, and pulled away from the explosion among the clouds. Another minute passed before both she and her last target found each other. They came head-on, both nailing the other, yet somehow both pilots were untouched. Both pulled their cords to eject, the metal wings clipping the other before their long fall to earth. Petra adjusted herself in her harness, which was quite uncomfortable as she fell. The wild winds whipped around her and pushed her back and forth across the sky, dragging her even farther and farther away from her crash site far below. The pilot was already on comms, trying desperately to send an SOS out. But it was choppy. Something was. She couldn't tell if it was the radio or the wind. Too much noise. She decided she'd wait to land to call again. But that was much easier said than done. She felt as if she had been falling for quite a while now, at least 10 minutes. She kept waiting to emerge from the clouds, to see below the welcome sight of land, something she could rest her trembling feet on. But it never happened. She wasn't too worried. Yet. She knew strong winds could keep a parachute and pilot in the air for quite some time. She knew all about William H. Rankin. Unlucky, yet impossibly lucky. Fell for around 40 minutes straight before finally touching down. This could be her too. But the difference is the sky was clear. No storm to hold her hostage. Yet, she just fell. And fell. And fell. Before long, an hour had passed. New world record, she thought to herself. And then 2 hours. 3. 4. She was still falling. At this point, the pilot was exhausted from all the tossing and turning from the wind. And yet, she battled to keep her mind clear, to keep her eyes open. But while she might have won the battle, she lost the war. Her eyes closed. She dreamed, or didn't dream. She wasn't sure if she was falling in the dream or in the real world. She would awake dozens of times in pure panic, grasping at the handles and screaming muffled screams into her helmet before remembering. she would slip back under again, dreaming of the ground coming too suddenly, too quick, looming mountain peaks and trees emerging from the clouds to claw at her and rip away from her the only thing keeping the pilot alive. She woke the next day, sore, battered, and bruised. Her radio was still garbled. Even if she could contact somebody, what could they do? How could they help? No one could. Up here, it was just her. What could she do? Another day had passed. Petra was hungry. So hungry. And so tired. She could barely get her arms to work. It was on the third day when she began to consider it. One smooth motion with her knife. She would fall. She would be free of this elemental prison. The pilot passed out one last time while considering this final act. And she would not wake up. 1 month later, there would be a news report of a human skeleton falling from the sky.